Okay, welcome to your first screencast for reviews. Today we're going to review Chapter 34, the circulatory, respiratory, and excretory systems, and one of these days I will learn to spell check even better. Just going to go through your review and make sure that you get all the questions correct. The first question says, describe the functions of the circulatory system. So, the circulatory system does four things. The most prominent is that it transports oxygen and nutrients throughout your entire body so that every cell gets what it needs. Another thing that it does is it helps fight diseases through your white blood cells. It helps your blood clot with your platelets. And lastly, it distributes heat throughout your body. Using the anatomy of the heart, diagram the flow of blood through the body and the heart. Okay, so here's my mouse, and you can follow with the mouse as we go through. But blood will come from the body via the vena cava. So let's just look here at the superior vena cava, and it will travel into the right atrium of the heart, and then it will flow into the right ventricle, and it will go around, and it will enter the pulmonary artery, where it will enter your lungs. Here it will collect oxygen, and then go back into your pulmonary veins. And the veins will take it all the way over here to the left side of the heart and enter the left atrium, the upper chamber, and then it will get pushed down into the left ventricle. And then finally out the aortic valve right here into the aorta, and then it goes to the rest of your body. You can see that blood can also get pushed down into your descending aorta to head down into your kidneys and the lower parts of your body. Okay, so let's look at blood. Describe the major components of blood. There's four parts to blood. The plasma is the clear yellowish fluid that carries nutrients and hormones. The red blood cells are red. They're biconcaved because they're pushed down on either side. There's no nucleus in the middle. And their job is to carry oxygen via hemoglobin. Then you have platelets, and platelets make up the cell fragments. And what they do is they help form blood clots when you cut yourself and you're bleeding. And then lastly, the white blood cells are your disease fighters, and they're part of your immune system. Moving on to your respiratory system, the question is distinguish between internal and external respiration. So internal respiration is down here. Internal respiration is the exchange of gases, carbon dioxide and oxygen, between the blood from your alveoli. So it starts in the lungs, and that goes into your body cells. So then after all of your body cells get it, then we have external respiration. So you can see that going up, and that's the exchanges of gases between the atmosphere. So here, if you would breathe out, and then the alveoli inside of your lungs. So two parts to this loop. It's continually going to your body cells and then out your body through breathing. But the lungs, the alveoli in the lungs, are the middle portion that these two things have in common. So if we looked at your respiratory system and we followed the path of air, so you take in a deep breath, and where is it going to go? So your first breath goes in your nostril, and it gets pushed to the back of your mouth, called the pharynx. And then it travels all the way down to your trachea, and then it will go into the bronchi. This is just showing one bronchus. Bronchi is plural. So as it goes into the bronchi, it will travel through the smaller bronchioles, and those are these little branches here. And then finally, it will end up in the alveoli, the grape-looking structures, and that's where gas exchange occurs. Okay, so we're still looking at breathing, and the question is to diagram what happens during inhalation and what happens during exhalation. So during exhalation, in this picture right here, you breathe out, the air goes out, and it's forced out of your lungs through the pressure differences. Your chest then will get smaller, and the diaphragm will relax into the C position. Then when you take a breath in, inhalation over here, the air is forced into your lungs, and the chest expands, and your diaphragm will move down, will move down to contract through inhalation, and then you take a deep breath of air in that way. Next question, describe the kidneys. Kidneys are bean-shaped organs that filter out wastes, water, and salts from your blood. Okay, so let's look deeper into the kidneys and describe the path of excretion of all of your waste from the Bowman's capsule to the ureters. So now we're looking at one little nephron, and we're following the path. Filtrate is all of the stuff that's in your blood. So it starts here in the Bowman's capsule, and then it goes through the glomerulus. It travels through the proximal tubule, and then it goes down and up the loop of Henle, and then it goes through the distal tubule, and then lastly to the collecting duct, which will lead to the ureters, and then eventually down here to your bladder. All right, so let's look at what filtration is. If it's filtrate, then what is the filtration process? Essentially, that's the first step that your kidneys do, is to filter water and waste. So water and any dissolved substances, so that would be the waste products that we don't use anymore, are pushed through the capillary walls into the Bowman's capsule. It travels the path, just like we mentioned in the other slide, through the loop and through the convoluted tubules, and eventually the waste products from the toxic substances will mix with the water, and urine will be formed after the collecting tubule and in the ureters itself. So the bad stuff is going out, the urinary excretion, and then the good stuff is going back in. So that's what reabsorption is all about. Reabsorption here is in pink, and you can see that water, 98% of your water and useful substances like sodium and other ions will be reabsorbed back into your capillaries that are surrounding the renal tubule. So you can see kind of pink here. This is like the reabsorption process, and then they'll be carried finally over to your renal vein, which will go back into your circulatory, your heart, to be recirculated through the rest of your body. So reabsorption is taking the good stuff and putting it back into the rest of your body.